Nick, what are we going to be talking about for our main topic today?
All right. So we've already gone over the context, who you are as a streamer, how you choose the overall ambiance of your stream, how you choose what to stream. So today is going to be like the schedule, the tech that you actually need, and those finishing touches, basically wrapping everything up. You already have the present made, and now you're just putting it in some wrapping paper before you throw it out there to the world.
Yep.
So this will be a bit shorter. And then next week we'll talk more about your first stream, preparing for it, how to execute it. Maybe some of the stuff that we saw today, right? Like how to talk to yourself, various things like that, so that you can assure that your first stream, even if nobody comes in, goes really, really well. And you're starting off on a good foot, so that if someone does come in, you're much more likely to capture them.
Yeah.
But for today, we're pretty much just wrapping everything up so that you are set for that, so that you're set to practice and go live. All right. So I think the first thing we should talk about is schedule, because last time we talked pretty extensively about the type of streamer you are and how that's going to dictate your content. So now that you've figured out what content you actually want to stream, when do you stream it?
Exactly.
And, you know, this is another one of those topics where it's so easy to get held up in the numbers, but numbers are only one part of the picture. Mm-hmm. For example, like, let's say viewership is really high one day. Well, why? Or viewership is really high for one game one day. Why? And a good example of this is Valorant. Valorant had such a big boom in viewership. It was topping the list. It was an insane amount of viewers. And there was a reason for that, because that's how you got the key to get into beta. So, you know, if you didn't know that's how you got the key, your first thought is, wow, this is a really popular game. It must be super awesome. So the numbers only provided one part of the picture. You needed the context, which was that's how you get the key, to realize, okay, well, that's why it's so high.
We didn't know, did we? We didn't know until...
No, I had no idea.
I didn't know either until after when I decided to give it a go. But
Same. Yeah. So numbers are only part of the picture. So don't get caught up in the numbers with anything that you're doing. Look at them, certainly take them into account, but remember, they don't tell the whole story. They're just the numbers. Yeah. So I think schedule when you're starting out, it's easy for people to want to overdo it. A lot of people think of big streamers who are streaming like every single day. Mm-hmm. I personally advise against this, even if you are a big streamer, just because you're going to burn out and there's so much stuff you can do behind the scenes. Yeah. But if you're able to keep up with it, more power to you. I don't have that kind of energy. I'm 30 now, but you know, if you can keep up with it, then go for it. But yeah, I think 3 times a week is a good place to start and maybe even stay. I'm currently at 3 times a week. I really love it. I am able to get my stuff behind the scenes done while still being there enough. I think if I wanted to bump it up, I certainly could go for 4 days a week and I could make that work. But I think once you start getting 5, 6, 7 days, I don't think anybody should ever stream like 6 or 7 days. I know you're going to burn yourself out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also in the beginning, you're probably going to be working still. You're probably going to be have different commitments. So it's going to be, I mean, I used to do it 5 times a week when I was still working like 20 plus hours a week. And I was exhausted. I was.
Oh, yeah.
I was exhausted.
And then your content's not going to be as good. You know, when you're tired, the content, like it suffers for it.
Definitely does.
You know, and I agree with Joe. Don't quit your day job when you first start streaming. Don't. Keep it for a while. Yeah. But I just think 3 times is good. If you really want to push for more, 4 times is fine. But when you're starting out, I don't think you should go for 4 times. I think if you have extra energy and time, spend it somewhere that's going to give you results, like YouTube, podcasting, Instagram. Put it somewhere else if you have that time. So once you have established enough and are more settled and kind of have your workflow, sure, bump it up to 4 times a week. But I think in the beginning, if you're like, oh, I'm only streaming 3 times a week and I feel like I could do more. Okay, do more, but do it elsewhere. Don't do it live on camera. Do something else. There is something you can do to up your game that's off camera. There's a lot of things. So 3 times I think is a good sweet spot for most people.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're absolutely right. And it gives you're more likely to not miss a stream if it's less.
Yes.
Also, I guess the only thing I'd add to that is, and I'm going to actually share in the, I'll put it probably across the podcast, a graph of when I became full-time and my days were regular, and when the times I started were more in line with the other days, and were always happening more consistently. And you could check that out for yourself if you're interested. We don't need to cover it in any detail, but it's a graph that shows the results from what happened from when I started streaming consistently at the same time on the same days compared to where I was before, where it was roughly, not always, and then sometimes I'd have to work extra. So it sort of shows you the difference. There's another thing that goes in with that. It shows you when I stopped doing what all the other streamers were doing who are playing my game, and changed that as well. So there's a couple of things that show a direct correlation within the graph, which I feel is really interesting and really pushes some of the points that me and Nick have spoken about. The graph is like a perfect example of your regular schedule, keeping that regular schedule.
Absolutely. And I think having a schedule is so important, and so many people don't have one. I've literally gone and seen people's panels, people that I love and enjoy having in my chat and enjoy watching streaming. And they're like, I'm on when I'm on, basically. These are my times, but I don't know. And it's like, it's really hard to critique somebody and give somebody more feedback when they don't even have a schedule set. So one of the things that I'm doing I think it's in 2 weeks, 2 Fridays from now, I'm going to be doing a live stream critique. So people are basically saying, I would like to volunteer to be tribute, and I'm going to critique their stream live on stream. I'm going to talk about their panels, their content, stuff like that. And my chat can get involved as well. As someone who watches Twitch and is a streamer, and then I have streamers and viewers in my chat who can also chime in.
That is a good idea.
One of my requirements, I think it'll be really fun. I think it'll be really cool. But one of my requirements is if you don't have a set schedule, I'm not going to critique you, because all I'm going to do when I pull up your channel is say, get a schedule and exit out. Because if you don't have a schedule, it's so hard to say, oh, well, this will make it better. That'll make it better. Like, yeah, sure, it will make it better. But if you don't even have the bare basics already nailed down, I don't know how much better. I don't know. I mean,
when are you going to be streaming? When do I come back and see you?
What? Yeah, that to me is such a basic necessity that I feel like I could critique everything else and get everything else perfect for you, and it's not going to matter because you don't have a schedule. So it just feels like, a little bit of a time. Also,
those people that you catch, people have lives that are scheduled around work, around the kids. So it might, a lot of the time, especially during the week, there are certain times they can watch, and it will probably be the same time next week, because the commitments tend to be the same week to week. So it's a big deal. And on a side note of that, so I applied for Twitch partnership this week, and I'll probably talk about the process when we know the outcome, but I hadn't really done too much work or research about Twitch partner, because I was like, look, I don't want to get consumed by Twitch partner. I want to concentrate on my community. And then when it got very close and I understood that I'd be able to make the application, I started to do some research. And one of the biggest things that people are turned down for is an inconsistent schedule and an inconsistent viewers. So they might have a schedule where they do a Saturday and they've got loads of viewers. Then they might do like a really late night during the week and they've not got as many. Twitch do not like that. And if you go and look at what they say for the partner criteria, they specifically say it's got to be consistent. And you need, and your viewers, you need an average of 75, right, to apply. Raids don't count, hosts don't count. But if you've got 200, and it even says this for an example, if you've got 200 one day and then like 20 the next, even though you've hit that average, maybe, that's not what Twitch wants to see. They want to see something consistent and constant. Because the way Twitch sees it with partner is you become part of the Twitch brand, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of understandable. That's why they get so strict on TOS, especially with partners, I guess, because they're seen as an ambassador for the company. So getting these things in place from the beginning, is going to stand you just in better stead for affiliate, and then maybe one day partner. You shouldn't be thinking about partner straight away, because if everybody thought about that who stream, they drive themselves insane,
Yeah.
So, but definitely for the path to affiliate, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think schedule, if you don't have your schedule set, or if you're planning on kind of doing whatever with your schedule, I think you really need to think long and hard about that, because you could have the best, most beautiful stream in the world, but if people don't know when to expect you, your viewership is gonna suck. So that's really important. Just like if you had a TV show that aired at the same time every day versus a TV show that aired once on Tuesday at 3 and once on Saturday at 6, and you didn't even know it was coming. And so, yeah, that's super important. And that's why, I won't even critique anyone who doesn't have a schedule, just because I can make your panels awesome. I can help you with your overlay. But if no one knows when to see you and doesn't show up, it doesn't matter how nice your stuff looks.
Exactly.
So let's see. So we talked about streaming 3 times weekly. I think that's the sweet spot. Yes. Don't overdo it. You don't want to burn yourself out. Consistent content matters, and you cannot have consistently good content if you're burnt out. And it's even if you're taking measures, you're gonna burn out sometimes. Yesterday, I was so tired. My allergies are kicking my ass. It wasn't a good stream, and I got off stream, and I was bummed about it. And I still had decent viewership, and people were enjoying themselves. But I knew that it wasn't my energy, and you can't. Sometimes you can't avoid that. That's unavoidable. But you don't want that to, you want to prevent that from happening as much as possible. So prevent yourself from burning out. Take care of yourself so that that is not the norm. That's the minority. Yeah. Is that you are having streams where your energy is a little bit off, or you don't feel good, or you're tired. Versus having that happen a lot. Yeah. The other thing is, go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you start, because you want to grow, and actually in the beginning, you want to try and get those follows in, not for the number, but for the just having followers, and that's why people get sucked in. I mean, I definitely did. What harm it did, I don't know. We can't say now. We'll never know, but definitely, since when I made the partner application the other day, I know that either way, I will probably drop from 5 to 4 days a week, just because I haven't got any time to do anything else. There's so much to do, and also, I have been checking back videos and noting my energy at the start of the stream and at the end of the stream. Most of the time it's fine, but I am a harsh critic of myself, and sometimes at the end it's absolutely not. Now, I don't think I'm streaming too long anymore. I used to stream really long hours because I was desperate. Not desperate. I was trying to grow, and I didn't fully understand. But if I had another day to chill, it'd be a piece of cake. I wouldn't even think about it, I don't think.
Yeah. And, people know when you're taking care of yourself because you're happier. And so you're going to appear that way on stream. You're going to do a lot better. And I think the hour thing is important, because I didn't really hit that with my schedule. So 3 times weekly. So when I stream 3 times weekly, I stream in 4-hour chunks because that's what I can handle. Yeah. And some people can do 24-hour streams. I cannot. I don't even know if I could do a 12-hour stream. I am a very high energy person. That's just who I am. I'm a high energy person. But you can only maintain that for so long. I can maintain it for a very long time compared to others. But even so, I can't be high energy for 24 hours. That's just inhuman. That would be weird.
No.
So yeah, know kind of your limits. Don't feel obligated to stream for a long time. If you stream 4 good hours 3 times a week, that is so much better than 8 shitty hours for 5 or 6 days a week.
And you will find, I mean, there's normally 2 types of full-time streamer, and I'm talking big streamer now, like thousands of viewers. And they will either be like a regular sort of 5 days short, and I mean like 4 hours, no more.
Yeah.
Or they will be like a 3 times a week, maybe 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
That's what I see from the most successful people. They were probably doing more, maybe a little bit more before they, maybe when they first, quit their job or whatever. But if you are still working as well on top of that, and the streamers, I tell you what, actually, the streamers I know who are big and doing it 3 times a week have quite a few other projects. And they are looking at other ways of expanding, not just their stream, but their career, as a content creator. Some of them are getting into music. Some of them are, they're trying all different things. And I feel like those are the people who will ultimately carry on being successful, for a very long time.
I 100% agree with that. And that's why I say, I only stream 3 times a week for 4 hours, but I also do all of this stuff behind the scenes. I have the podcast. I'm working on my YouTube. I think you kind of have to hedge your bets because something could happen to Twitch at any moment. Like there's no guarantee. And if you, don't place all your eggs in one basket, right? Yeah. If you have a hand in all of the pies and you're doing pretty well with them, then if one disappears, you're going to be okay. So I do think don't stake all of your bets on Twitch, even though we are talking about Twitch and Twitch is awesome. You never know. And so it's important to kind of find other outlets as well, especially like discoverability on Twitch. I know they're working on it. It's still bad right now. So having other outlets will help your Twitch grow as well. It all feeds back into each other. Yeah. So it's really important to kind of put content in other places. But again, just do what you can handle. If you feel like you can do more, if you're like legitimately, I can do more, and you are doing all the behind the scenes stuff, sure, add a stream, right? But make sure you're checking the other boxes off first before you are like, well, I'm just going to go live. Like if you're going live and you're adding another day to go live and you haven't even considered YouTube, maybe take a step back and ask yourself, do I want to add another day live or do I want to add a recording day for YouTube? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's really important. Figure out how long you can stream consistently and how many days. And it's up to each person, right? Like some people can stream for like 8 hours and really kill it. And some people can stream for 4 and they do okay. So it's very personalized, but again, don't use all of your energy streaming, and make sure you have energy for streaming, but also other projects.
Yeah.
And this goes to life balance. So one thing I know we've talked about before is inhaling, giving yourself that space. Like you were saying, you feel like you don't have enough time for other things, right?
Yeah, right.
And one of the things I noticed was I've been busy lately, and I think this is partially why I was disappointed in yesterday's stream. For one, I was low energy because I felt bad, and I feel awful today as well, although I'm starting to pick my energy back up. But another thing is you have to inhale and take in information and content to share. And it's doubly hard right now because a lot of us are inside, right? Like if I spent the weekend kayaking, I could talk about kayaking for 30 minutes, an hour, talk to other people, ask what kind of kayak they recommend. Like there's so much to talk about just off of going kayaking, right? Yeah. Or just off of, if I took my dogs to the park, I talked about the other dogs I met and how it can roll into conversation about how I want to train Harvey to do this. Or you could talk to other people about their dogs, what dog parks they like. Have they been to any really cool dog parks that stood out to them, and roll it into, who knows, national parks, right? Like you can spend time doing stuff and then you roll it into more and more and more to talk about. So I think inhaling is important. And I know my worst streams are when I haven't had time to inhale.
Yeah.
Even something as simple, like a lot of people on my stream like my stories, which is a huge honor for me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, you guys. But a lot of people like my stories, and a lot of times my stories are so simple. For I can make a story out of 10 minutes of my day. So like one of the stories I told recently was how I went to Starbucks, and, and that's one thing I would say, just as a side note, as a streamer, get good at storytelling. Get good at storytelling. That you will thank yourself 1,000 times over if you get good at storytelling. Practice it, research it, do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Because, if you can turn like a 10-minute thing into like an hour-long story where you're like talking about your feelings and then what happened and then your facial expressions and then how shocked you were, and like turn it into this experience, then when you are inhaling, you can also make that stretch longer, which is really useful for times like now when we're quarantined and we don't have a lot coming in. But you want to inhale. You want to have experiences. You want to learn something new. You just want to do more than stream, because if you're inhaling as just you streaming, well, what are you going to do? Talk about your last stream on this stream? People who were there for both are going to get bored. Yeah. They're going to be like, I was there. I know what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
There that day.
Yeah.
So spend some time inhaling. You can't just exhale. You can't breathe. You can't create without taking in as well. Absolutely. Because you're going to burn out and you're going to have nothing to talk about. You'll be like, well, I told this story 50 times and I haven't left the house in 9 years. So now what?
Yeah.
Now what do we talk about? So I think that's another really important reason to balance your schedule.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is one. So this is less about choosing your schedule and something important. And I put it in caps: post your schedule somewhere visible.
Yes.
Post your schedule somewhere visible. For the love of God, please do it, because I have been in other channels that did not have a hugely visible schedule. And I was like, I don't know when I can find this person. And I don't know if they do have a schedule and it's just not posted. I don't know if they don't have a schedule. Sometimes it's like hidden in there. So post your schedule somewhere visible. And a fun thing, a little tip, if you go to my stream and watch one of my VODs, I have my schedule scroll across my screen and like a little box down at the bottom, because so many people were asking my schedule.
Yeah.
I have not had one person ask my schedule since I put that up. Everyone knows my schedule. It is literally right there in scrolling text.
It's one of the most asked questions of new followers. And there's a chance people don't like it. Like, even like people who know me, and my chat's getting hectic now. They don't like it if I miss something. They understand, really, but like, if it's somebody new and they've just followed and they ask when you stream, even though it is in the info section, but like depending on what format, depending on how they're viewing the stream, whether it's tablet or mobile, or it might not be that easy to see the info. So, like if I accidentally ignored them and they couldn't see when I was streaming, they might just never come back.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's really, really important you have it on display. I used to have like a timer for it in my chat as well. Like, like every 10 minutes or something, or 15 minutes, it would say, oh, you can find Joe will be live on this day at this time. But I got a bit carried away with timers, so I took it off. But yeah, I mean, it's especially important if your life does not allow for you to stream at the same time every day that you stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I stream 2 nights and then 1 day.
Yeah.
And I don't like doing that, because I feel like if I streamed all night, it'd be more consistent. But I have some people who really love to tune in who can only do daytime.
Yeah,
so that may change for consistency purposes. Because like you were saying earlier, it is better to be more consistent across time. It is,
but yeah, at the same time, I did a stream last week on a Thursday or Monday, whatever it was. My internet was cut. Like, there was a big problem with my internet provider, so I finished the stream early, and I was at a loose end that night, so I decided to go back just for an extra. And first things first, it had like half of the average viewers that streams were the other streams around it those days would have, and earlier that day. That's the first thing. The second thing is, there were some people who were like, oh, I very rarely get a chance to see you. This is great. And it's like, oh,
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I'm in that boat where it's like, I know that I have less viewership potentially. And part of it is building up the viewership for that day. But then it's like, if you spend so much time, like if I spend a lot of time building my viewership for Friday, where I only stream one day, it's not really going to go anywhere. So that'll probably get moved. But since I'm still small, I'm kind of keeping it for a little while just because it's nice being able to see those people.
It's not the end of the world. You were streaming on that same day. Keeping to the schedule is is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And your life, 100%. Like when I was working before, I simply could never do that. I tried to make it as consistent as I could, but it couldn't be consistent because of what I worked.
Yeah.
So
being consistent
it's not always an option, but doing it the same thing every week is more important than that anyway. For sure.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Even if you're like one night, one day, one afternoon, like even if your schedules are kind of, it's all over the place. Obviously that's less ideal. It's better to kind of have it straight across the board. But even if you have that, as long as you're there, as long as they know they can expect you at that time,
same time every
you're
week,
okay.
Every week.
Yeah, it's not going to be as good, but trust me, that is an awesome baseline, and you're already way ahead of other streamers who are not even like having a schedule or being there at the times they say they will. And that doesn't mean you don't cancel streams. You know, it happens, but be sure you are vocal about a stream being canceled. Post in your Discord, post on Twitter, wherever you have to do. But I think it's useful to post you were talking about putting your schedule on a timer. I think it's useful to post it. You don't want to like shove it down people's throats, but you kind of do it a little bit. Like you don't want to shove it down there so far that they throw up, but like maybe gagging, right? Like, So, I have a command, like you could type !schedule and get my schedule. I have a scroller on the bottom of my overlay. And I think I have it in not my panels anymore, but Twitch has the like schedule thing. I have it in 3 different places. And you can ask me. So, you were saying like, oh yeah, it's in the information. Sometimes they don't see it. Put it as many places as you can without making people want to kill you for it.
Yeah.
Because somebody might see it one place, somebody might see it another place. And if nobody knows your schedule, you're right. They might just leave and not come back. And so it's really important that they know that. I think schedule is like, it's so supremely important. If you're thinking about streaming, you have to figure out a way to get some kind of consistent schedule, I think, if you really want to grow.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
Right. I think that's it for schedule.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've nailed it in enough.
I think we've nailed schedule.
Consistent and don't overdo it.
I think we've nailed schedule.
Good. That one's important. I was really hoping for that. I think next we'll talk about tech. And we will have a more in-depth tech stream. But I want to talk about tech as it applies to someone brand new, just starting streaming.
Right.
Because, there's so much you can talk about. Like one of the things I learned with my computer building stream was using like your GPU versus your CPU to encode your streams, and how you should use your GPU if you have Turing shaders, but if you don't have Turing shaders, your CPU is probably better. And why using the GPU with Turing shaders like offload some of the CPU so that you're not using as many resources, and you can get real technical with it, right? But I think when you're just starting out streaming,
you don't want to be worried about that too much.
Yeah, just do it, right? Just do it. So we will have a tech stream. We'll talk about what you should upgrade first, and how much you should spend, and what some of the best options are. We can talk about all of that, but that is going to be a full-on podcast, right? Like that
would be the whole thing. Yeah,
absolutely. But for today, we're going to talk about tech as it applies, and tech including software, as it applies to brand new. You are just starting out and you just want to get going. And this is assuming a few things. This is assuming you have your peripherals. You're going to need a mouse. You're going to need a keyboard. You're going to need a computer. If you're streaming, I assume you have that stuff.
Yeah.
Your computer has to be able to run a stream. And, you could sit here and say, well, it needs this software and this hardware and this and this and this. There's so many different parts you could have. I say just test it out and see what happens personally. And if you need to upgrade something, upgrade it, but test it out, run a few streams. And like, if you're noticing your CPU can't keep up, you can upgrade it then.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be able to troubleshoot every single person's stream.
You could, when you start, and you can't do really much harm, can you, by testing it?
Just jump in. That's my personal thing, is jump in. But there are a few things you might not have that you will need.
Yeah.
So for one, you're going to need lights. You just are. You're going to need lights. You don't want to be one of those people who's creepily in the dark, unless that's your thing. Like if you're playing a horror game, that's like legit, right? I've done that before. I've been like,
that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
But like you saw today, you know, if you guys were watching on YouTube, you saw today how all of these new streamers didn't have cameras and they were in the like 0 to 2 viewership range.
Yeah.
It's important that people see you. That just is a testament to how important it is for people to see you and connect with you. And if you have a camera, but you're literally just like 2 shades of gray and you're like in the dark, they aren't really seeing you. Like it's better than not having a camera, but like how much better?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, like you want to be lit enough, and it doesn't have to be perfect lighting. It doesn't have to be studio lighting. I do my best with my lighting. I'm not a lighting pro. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just kind of try to make it look good, but you want to be lit to a certain degree. So get some cheap lights off of Amazon. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you're lit enough to where your face is fully visible.
Yeah,
exactly. Get lit. And but you're gonna need lights for sure.
And on the back of that, if you are a green screen is not a necessity at all, but if you really insist yourself on having one, then the lighting becomes doubly important again on top of that, because if your green screen is not well lit, then it will look like trash. It just will. You can think it looks great, and then when it goes dark, you can see it. Like I see it all the time. My first few streams were like that, and I realized I was like, no, I need decent lighting. They stand out, and they're really bad. Like just so if you must have a green screen, and you don't have to, but if you must, again, the lighting's important anyway, so it's doubly important again for green screen.
Absolutely. And that's actually one I did not add. And you guys will notice if you see the bubble chart, I did not add green screen to this list because I feel like if you are just starting out, not a necessity at all.
It's not
without a green screen.
It's not an essential. And if you are starting out, probably not the best idea, because it's just something else you've got to mess with when you've already got quite a lot to do.
Absolutely. They're great, especially for some games.
And that's the thing as well. You know? Like first person shooters, you know, some do, some don't. Like, and I'm talking the big streamers, some do, some don't. It doesn't seem to affect anything really that much. But some games are perfect for it. Some games where you need to probably see a lot more of the screen, whereas like on a first person shooter, for instance, or even a third person, you don't need to see those peripheral parts of the screen so much. So putting a nice overlay box there is absolutely fine.
Absolutely. So consider a green screen later. If you guys want a green screen, you know, some people, there's pros and cons to both, right? Like there's a pro to having just your room. It shows your personality. People feel like they're there with you. There's a pro to having a green screen. Obviously you get a lot more screen real estate, which is really good because I've had issues with myself covering up various parts of the game. So there's pros and cons to both. If you are going to do a green screen though, it is cool. I want to see someone like integrate it into their overlay, like you're in a cockpit or something. I think that'd be neat. But yeah, when you're first starting out, I say forgo it, and that can be a consideration later, just because it's another expense. It's another thing to have to mess with and troubleshoot. And you're right, if the lights are bad, it's not going to look good. So I would just focus on lights. You're going to need a cam, obviously. A lot of people have a built-in camera, and like if you are just starting out and literally like do not have money for a camera, a built-in camera is fine. Yeah. But if you have some money, I would upgrade to a nice webcam. And as always, the Logitech C920S is my go-to recommendation. When I was using mine, seriously, I added, and we'll talk about this later in finishing touches. Yeah. I added filters. I color corrected it. It looked almost like a DSLR. It was like as close as you could get with a webcam. It looked really good. So
they are good. They're great. They're great cameras. They're great fantastic starting cameras.
Absolutely. You could stay a long time with the Logitech C920S. So that would be my recommendation, is if you can splurge a little bit, and they're not really that expensive. They're under $100, but that is expensive for some people. So if you can, I would pick up one of those and then make it look really nice. If not, you know, you just need some sort of camera. You need to be able to capture yourself. And then of course, you're going to need headphones with a microphone on it. So you're going to need obviously visual input, which is the camera.
Yeah.
And then the lights so that you can see that visual input well. Yeah. And then you're going to need audio input. Mm-hmm. And you don't want your stream hearing what's coming out of your speaker, which is why I say headphones. You're going to want some kind of headphones, because if it's coming through your speaker and going through your mic, that's annoying. They're going to hear that. And that's really crummy. So the absolute, go ahead.
Yeah. And it takes a while to know exactly where you are with those sounds and what you can get away with. And you tweak, you end up tweaking your mic so much that sometimes those thresholds change. So be very careful about your sound sources and where they're coming from. If you already, a lot of gamers do already have gaming headsets. To start with,
be a great option.
The mics are not amazing, but as we're going to talk about, we're starting out, and if you can afford a dedicated mic, you get a dedicated mic.
Absolutely.
But you will do the job. You won't be upsetting anybody or offending anybody unless it's a really cheap pair. Yeah. Don't just use a really cheap pair. But if you've got a decent pair and the microphone sounds okay, record it first, because you can record in any of these before you actually go to stream. You can record and just play it back. That's normally what I do. That's what I do when I'm testing this out, right, Nick? So if it does sound really, really bad, then and you have the money, get a dedicated mic. But if you're starting out and you've got a decent set of gaming headphones already and it sounds clear enough, that'll be fine. Like, people are not going to pick you up on that. As long as it's clear, it's not fuzzy and doesn't sound really, really tinny or bad.
Absolutely. And then we get into, well, if we have a little bit of money, do we upgrade the cam or do we upgrade the mic? Like, let's say we have like $100, we want to upgrade something, but we cannot upgrade both. This is a hard one. I think if you're using a camera that looks like absolute trash, like if you are using a laptop camera and it looks like absolute shit, you're going to want to upgrade your camera.
Yeah.
But I tend to lean toward, if your camera is good enough, if it looks okay, I feel like having a good mic is actually really important, because you're obviously there. I don't know. I guess whichever's worse, right?
Yeah,
like if your mic sounds absolute trash, I mean, I think it's a very personal thing, you know, like I think a lot of people automatically assume you should upgrade your camera and never really your mic. Like, the camera seems so important, and it is. But the mic is also really important, is what I'm trying to say. Keep in mind that people are there to talk to you. They want to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
You don't want to sound like crap.
So I actually started with the C920 camera, not the C920S. So I believe, I don't actually know what the difference is.
Can I tell you a secret?
What's that?
The difference is that the C920S has it has a little flap on it. That's it.
Right.
I liked it so that I could close it and hope that my FBI agent wasn't watching me.
Yeah, but it lights up, right? If it's in use.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But anyway.
I believe it does.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
So that has a built-in microphone as well, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not great. It's fine for doing a conversation on Skype, because that's what it's for. So I had the C920. Now at the minute, prices for these items are high because everybody wants one. Demand's gone through the roof. But under normal circumstances, so I already had one, and I bought two C920s off Amazon for about $60. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
If your camera is that standard already, because the next step up, I think, from a C920 is to get something that's 60 frames a second, because the C920 is 30 frames a second. That's the only way you're going to get a better image, really, unless you are using a DSLR. But you got to use the DSLR right to get a better image, to be fair, because I've seen people DSLRs and they look like trash because they've just not got it set up correctly.
That was me in the beginning. In fact, I found out that I was doing like everything wrong, and my DSLR looked like trash, and I had no fucking idea why. I mean, it looked better than the C920, but it still looked bad. Yeah. And then I ended up changing some setting, and I posted like a side-by-side on my Discord. I was like, why did you guys not tell me this? Because it was so much better. I was like, why did nobody tell me how to fix this, or that it looked like trash? But yeah, I do think that for me, I would have kept the C920 which is what I did until I got a DSLR. Like I liked it that much. Yeah. So I really put a lot of stock into that camera. It is a really nice camera and usually affordable.
Yes.
Not right
now. If your camera is of that standard, then upgrade your mic all day long.
Absolutely.
See, I still don't use a DSLR. I'm sure I will one day. I will one day, but they're expensive, right? So
they are. I mostly got one because I wanted one anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So it would be like it's like a luxury, and then when you get it, it's not just plug and play and go. No. Whereas for me, upgrading from a C920 to the Logitech 4K Brio basically looks the same, but it's 60 frames a second. It was easy, and the same software worked, that sort of thing. But I only got that like after I'd been streaming for like maybe 7-8 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing wrong with the C920 and it was fine. And people
not at all.
People did notice the difference when I changed, but they'd never saying, "Oh, it doesn't look," And the people got to the stage where they knew me well enough to tell me. But yeah, the mic thing is massive. I think the sound.
You'll notice it.
Yeah.
You'll notice it for sure. The mic, I feel like you'll notice a lot. And honestly, if you have a camera and it's not the greatest camera, you can do a lot with lights. You can do a lot just adding lights. Like some people will get a Logitech C920 or C920S and be like, it looks like crap.
Yeah.
Add some lights and add some like filters and color correction and it will look awesome.
Some of the LED lights are so cheap. Like Elgato do a key light, which is the daddy. I was planning on buying one, but I got these LED. They're like square blocks of LEDs basically, and you can turn them up and down. And they cost me, I think, like $30 each. I only had one in the beginning. Yeah. And they're just perfect. And then I just have one big light, like studio kind of light, which I also got cheap as a set from Amazon. They made the biggest difference to the camera. If you're lighting shit, then your camera will look shit.
Absolutely. So if your camera's looking bad, first fix your lighting.
Yeah.
And then if it still looks bad, certainly think about upgrading. But I think that upgrading your lights and your mic, if you have a decent camera, are going to be more bang for your buck.
Yes.
Personally.
I agree.
But if you're using a shitty laptop camera, then yes, please upgrade that because it's going to look so bad.
Yeah.
It's going to look so bad. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe your laptop camera is awesome.
Yeah,
also, keep in mind you can use your phone.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have like a really, really high-end laptop, it's going to be crummy.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, so there are literally tutorials out there, and you guys can search on YouTube. There are tutorials that show you how to use your phone as your webcam, and that will look better probably. In fact, almost like 99% of the time, I think it'll look better than your laptop built in. Yeah. So, there's options out there. So certainly think about what works best for you and your budget, but you're going to need headphones with a mic, or headphones and a dedicated mic, either or. You're going to need both headphones and a mic somehow in some combination, and lights. And then of course you're going to need software. And I know we've kind of talked about this before. I found something interesting out that I didn't really think about mentioning, but that I feel like is really important. So some people will say, I want to use Streamlabs because I like their widgets. I want to use StreamElements because I like their widgets. You can use all of it in just regular OBS, just the OG OBS, just as a browser source. So
that's what I do.
That's what I do. I use OBS, and then if I want to use anything from the other two, like StreamElements or Streamlabs, I just use their browser-based, platform and do whatever I need to do with it.
Yeah.
So I recommend OBS, and it's hard because I want to recommend Streamlabs to beginners because it's much more user-friendly. But honestly, I feel like if you're willing to put in a little bit of extra work and learn OBS, the regular OBS, not OBS.live, not Streamlabs OBS, but OBS, if you're willing to put in a little bit of extra work, I think that would be best, because at some point you're probably going to want to transfer over to it anyways.
Yeah.
Because Streamlabs gave me a lot of lag, and I know it doesn't for a lot of people, but I've talked to a few people who have had issues with Streamlabs.
Yeah, I had a look at it, used it briefly, but the thing is, for a start, you put the program side by side on your PC, and obviously you can get up the task manager. Slobs, as it's known. So what happened was Open Broadcaster Software, OBS, was the original software. Streamlabs bought it, but on the condition that Open Broadcaster Software could continue on their own. So they bought into the software, and from that point they split ways. That's why so much stuff is similar, but a lot's changed. Yes, the Streamlabs OBS looks prettier, like as a user interface, because it's got more money, because it's Streamlabs, right?
Yeah.
But Open Broadcaster Software has always been free. It's made by people who are running on donations, so there's no agenda. They're not trying to sell you anything. They're just trying to give you decent software. You run these programs side by side. Streamlabs OBS is using more resources for the same thing. And that's another thing. If your computer's okay, it's good. Especially if you're going to be playing games on your PC and streaming from that same PC, then you need all the resources you can get. I mean, even on decent PCs. So I would always recommend OBS.
Yeah.
It's kind of, in a weird way, it's more complicated because it's simple.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah, but the only way you can sort of understand that is to use both. But my advice, as I'm with Nick, just start off with regular OBS.
Yeah.
You might
get it. It's reliable. You don't need all the bells and whistles. You can add the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
For a browser source. Yeah. I would say do yourself a favor and learn just the regular old OBS and stick with that. It's probably going to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And also there's a bit of software I'm going to add to this. There's a bit of software called Streamlabs, which I use alongside OBS. Still uses less resources with the programs combined than Streamlabs OBS itself. And that gives me basically all my notifications as big or as small as I want them. It gives me the option to replay anything that I've missed or the viewers might have missed. That's one of the biggest drawbacks of the OBS, but there are ways around that. And it's the same with the chatbot. That you can get a Streamlabs chatbot, or you can get other pieces of software that are a chatbot. It still uses less resources than Streamlabs OBS, like with those combined. So, and also if you have a problem with one, you can shut it down and reopen it. Whereas if you have a problem like that in your Streamlabs OBS, you've got to stop your stream.
Yeah,
and you don't,
which is really frustrating. And I've had that.
It's the worst because some people don't hear you if they're lurking or they're suddenly away, and then you have to build your viewers back up again. It's really not what you want to be doing.
Not at all. If you can keep from shutting your stream down, that's obviously. I mean, it's the best.
Yeah.
But I actually, you were talking about different chatbots. I use Chatty. Actually, I love Chatty.
Yeah, you love Chatty.
Chatty to me so much. It's like OBS to me. It's so simple, so basic. It's just so old school, and it works. It's reliable, and it has a lot of different options, like highlighting specific keywords, highlighting specific messages from specific people, or cutting certain things out. Like, it's so customizable, but so basic user interface. It's not super fancy, but it works and it is reliable. And I've used several different chat programs. Chatty by far is my favorite. It's like OBS to me. It's old reliable over here, and it works. Yeah,
there are plenty of options. So that's actually, Nick, that's something that I will be looking at, because I've just always used Streamlabs chatbot. Not that I've had issues with it. There are certain things you can do within that as well, integrated into your Streamlabs, because Streamlabs is the website, and you can do all your stuff from there. And like we said, put it as a browser source in OBS. Rather than having them integrated into the actual broadcasting software itself. So there is that, but from what you say about Chatty, I'm definitely going to give it a look. And maybe as well, it might be a good idea to check out the programs for yourself, because it could just be a personal thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to. I actually pulled up Streamlabs. I was like, I'm going to be checking this out after.
Yeah, exactly.
Streamlabs,
I find, like, I wouldn't even think secondly, but Streamlabs chatbot has done the job for me. But some of the things you've mentioned that were really handy, it doesn't do.
Yeah, that's actually why I switched, because I did use that one. I've also tried the Stream Elements chatbot. Yeah. I've tried several because there was something specific. I'm so stubborn. There was something specific I wanted to do, and I could not find anyone who do it. And finally, Chatty did it. So I was like, okay, perfect. Like I scoured the internet, looking for it. So yeah, that it has a lot of functionality.
Yeah. And
once you set it up, I think you can save your profile, like export it, so that if something happens, you can just re-upload
it. Yeah.
Really cool. So, and then I think the only other software, so we have OBS.
Yes.
We have Chatty, which would be your chat bot.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about it too much, but if you are going to open a Discord, I've gotten the question from people, what Discord bot should I go with? It's so complicated using Discord bots. I vote Carlbot, CARL, Carlbot. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. If you're doing Discord and you are looking for a bot for it, I think you could get away with using literally just Carlbot and nothing else, and it'll work out well for you. It's very user-friendly, very beginner-friendly.
Yeah.
I use him to this day, and I love it. Also, you can rename him, which is really cool. Mine's renamed Borkbot because I say my dog go bork, bork, bork.
Mine's named Todd, after Toad.
Todd. I figured out what Todd was like. I don't know, because I asked, I was like, who is Todd? Why do we hate him?
Toad.
And then I figured it out. Yeah, I figured out it was
from
Toad.
Mario, the little dweeb.
Because everyone was like LOLing at me, and I was like, I don't understand.
Hang on a minute.
And then I was like, oh, it's Toad. I was like, oh, friggin' course.
On the back of that, though, as well, if you're starting out and you're not aware of Discord, because I wasn't when I started out, and people were asking, do you have a Discord? And I was like, no. It might be a good idea to, if you were already watching other people's streams and they have a Discord, download Discord to your phone as it's an app, or your PC. Join their Discord and just get a feel for what it's all about before you go on your own, because it's like a sort of social platform, but for a particular subject. So like you stream, for instance, but you can do it for pretty much anything. Like, or a lot of people use it like for communities that play certain games to find other people that are playing in their region and stuff, so that the latency is low. But it's not. It's easy to use. It's not particularly intuitive, and it doesn't work like any other social media I've ever seen before. So at first it's like, wait, what's going on? How does this work? And like, you can make it so that some rooms only certain people can go in. Like, there's certain areas that people can do. You can chat. You can host chat parties on it. So that's another thing. You can use it for like party chat if you're playing games. And we found that the chat's pretty good on there. Right, Nick? So like, even like sometimes Xbox Live chat used to be a bit crummy. Like, I mean, this was years ago. It's probably much better now. Like, so many people are now just using the Discord party chat because they haven't even got to like worry about joining and getting when you when you play in the first person shooters and you're waiting for other people to join the party. They'll join the game, but then you got to join the party as well, so that you got your own chat and you're not just in the general chat of the team that you're playing in, or say Call of Duty or whatever. So if you are beginning to stream and I recommend you check out somebody else's Discord first, an established streamer's Discord.
Certainly.
And check it out, because luckily at the time I had, and I'm somebody who is qualified to be very, very technical, who's been interested in hardware and software all of his life, but I didn't have time to learn. But luckily at the time, I had a mod who really knew what he was doing with it. He helped me, but I had to trust him because I didn't know what was going on. And then I slowly learned how to use it, but it would have been much better had I known in the first place how to use it. And actually, like, when I had time to use it, I realized how good a tool it was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really great tool. And I guess the way I would describe it is, think of Reddit if Reddit were a messenger.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's like you have each Discord is almost like its own Reddit subreddit. It's its own community. So that's a way, if you're more familiar with Reddit as a person, you know, that's kind of a way to think of it. It's like you have your own little communities and you talk within each one of them. And just a quick etiquette tip, don't at everyone a lot.
No.
Or maybe even at all. I learned that. So there are little social etiquettes around Discord. There's not a lot, but the big one is don't at everyone.
So I use it as a go live thing because Twitch isn't always the best app. So I only at everyone for a special one-off announcement, and it will be an important announcement, or that the stream's live, or there's a new video out, and that is it. That's the only time I will send a notification out to everybody, because again, there are a lot of people on Discord who have joined it just because you've got one, so they don't particularly know how to switch off every single notification for every different channel within that Discord.
And some people like me have like 50 Discords that they follow. So, you know, make sure you're adding everyone for something you actually want to at everyone for. Don't like at everyone, hey, my dog just licked his butt and it was funny.
Like all over the carpet.
Have a reason.
Like, nobody wants here's the 10th picture of my dog today, everyone. You know what I mean? Like, they probably
don't do it.
They want to look at your dog when they want to look at your dog, and they'll go to the pet section. When they're feeling low, and they just go to the pet section of the Discord and just browse the doggos and the kitty cats. That's fine. Just leave it to there. Just let them know. Just use the everyone for important stuff. And I use it for a new video, which is never more than once every few days, and that goes for the podcast as well. A new video, or I've gone live. That's it.
Yeah, I really think that's the way to use it, as like announcements and stuff. But other than that, kind of, you know, just an etiquette thing so that you guys save the embarrassment that I didn't.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think that's it for tech. Again, just really basic. We're just going over the basic stuff that you need.
Yes.
We will get more into this later. But I think we're now at finishing touches, and it actually rolls nicely from the tech because some of the finishing touches involve the tech. So. Absolutely. You know, finishing touches on camera. Check your camera field of view. Figure out what your camera can see. Position it the way you want it to be. You can crop it in OBS if you need to. You can crop the field of view. Make sure it's like in a good position. So check it out and make sure your room is clean behind you.
Yes.
Some people don't do this. They just don't. I think, check your field of view.
Yeah, I think like the way I am, it'd have to be tidy behind me. Like I hate to see that. I've seen streams with like a laundry basket, you know, like laundry baskets and a pile of washing in, like to be ironed. Like, I don't want to see that. I'm not interested. Yeah. Like, it just looks really unprofessional as well. Like, this is your thing. Well, might not necessarily be your job yet if you're starting out, but you know, you make the best of what you've got. The least you could do is, if you were having people around, you tidy up, right? Or not? I know not everyone does, but I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tidy anyway. If somebody's coming around, just the way I am, they probably wouldn't be that bothered. But I'm like, I've got to clean. Like, even though it's already clean. But some people do expect it, so just do it. It's something you could do easily. And if there's stuff in the background that you can't necessarily cover up easily because you're in a tight space, narrow the field of view, like Nick said. Crop the picture so that it's not in there. Simple.
And put the stuff that you do have that, like, for example, I have my anxiety medications right here in front of me.
Yeah.
Can't see them.
No.
And A, I wouldn't want you to be able to see them.
No.
But B, it has doxing information. If you have something that doxes you, make sure it's not, if it's a piece of mail, if it's like a picture that has your name on it, whatever, check your field of view for any information that doxes you. Check your field of view for anything that looks untidy. Like, and it's not to say that I'm the cleanest person in the world. Like, I'll have, like, for example, some brownies on my desk just waiting for me.
Nobody can see them though.
But they're out of frame. No one knows. Yeah. No one knows that there's a plate of brownies, you know? So if you do have stuff like, sometimes I'll tuck a plate of brownies. Like, I have another monitor here and I'll just tuck the plate of brownies behind the other monitor so that like I have easy access to the brownies, but they're not out. So yeah, you know, make sure your field of view doesn't dox you. It's nice and tidy. It's positioned the way you want it to, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then speaking more about finishing touches with the mic and the cam and the tech part of it. So for the cam, you want to color correct. And I've seen a lot of new streamers do this. They'll use like a Logitech, they'll have the lights, everything will look okay, but they don't add a color correction filter. And if you need help with this, you know, reach out to one of us, or, you know, there's tutorials online. But you want to, under filters in OBS, you want to add a color correction filter. You want to up the saturation a little bit usually.
Yes.
You want to up the contrast a bit usually. That'll make it look so much better.
Absolutely.
So that is a beautiful finishing touch. Once you have everything else figured out with your camera, add some color correction.
I think the most common one, or definitely what I've come across in a couple of different cameras, is that through the camera and under the lights, I look a lot more washed out and pale than I actually am. I'm like, gosh, I look unwell today. And then I look in the mirrors and it's like, I don't look that bad. I don't look that pale. And it's just, sometimes it's just the way the camera is, especially under intense lighting. You'll notice sometimes if you ever watch a sporting event and they're really like tennis, for instance, and then they go into the press room under all the lights and they look freaking terrible because like they've obviously tired, they've been sweating, and like, but they probably don't look that bad in real life. It's just the lighting. Yeah, but literally all it is, if you turn the, like Nick says, don't go crazy with it, but just do a little bit at a time. Just adjust these things a little bit at a time. Mine is mainly just like what Nick said, a bit of extra saturation. Literally, that's it. Now, because the lighting's good. Before, and that was a bit of another trick, when my lighting probably wasn't where it needed to be, is I could manipulate the color correction a little bit, and it might help. It might help the green screen as well sometimes if you are using one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, little changes at a time.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And another, just, you know, because you were talking about the lighting and how you look under certain lightings. Keep in mind, if you wear makeup, some makeup has something called, I think it's called a flashback, where it'll give you a really white cast.
Yes.
I think it's talc, maybe it has talc in it. I'm not sure. So, you could probably find the information online, but be careful about what powder you're choosing, because that'll just make it worse.
Yeah. So a lot of people are using the they call it highlighter, sort of on the cheeks and under the eyes.
Yeah.
And you'll notice sometimes with pictures on a night out, say like in a bar or something, especially where it's dark, and then they get a flash from the photo, it'll look like they're wearing like a white mask almost across their eyes. They don't look like that in real life, but given the bright light, they look like Adamant. You probably don't know who that is, Nick, but I will put a picture of Adamant on.
Actually,
you do
believe I do know who Adamant is.
Good. He used to wear like white.
The show.
He used to wear like white makeup across his eyes.
Yeah. I remember that theme song for some reason.
Prince Charming.
Huh.
His song. I'll put the video. A picture will pop up on the video when we talk about him.
And me just sitting here like, yes.
But that is something that because it's not in my day to day, would ever think about, Nick. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I'll go and, I'll check my VOD and I'll wear a different powder, and then it looks awful. Like I look so pale. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll wear, I wear tinted moisturizer a lot. And my tinted moisturizer is a little bit darker because usually around this time of year I have more color, and I don't right now because, we're quarantined.
Inside.
Yeah, we're inside. So like I'll check it and my face will look dark, and then here looks really pale. But it doesn't look that bad in real life. Like it looks just mildly darker up here. It's not like a serious line. It doesn't look so bad. But on the camera, it really accentuates these little things.
Yes.
So pick the right powder, get color matched for your makeup, because it might not look bad in real life, but you get on that camera suddenly, like it's blaringly obvious. So that's something to consider. Yeah. Even like, sometimes I'll wear like like lipstick. I don't really wear lipstick a lot, but if I do, I'll look at it on camera. It looks like a totally different shade. It looks so much darker, or like so much more pink or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, check your camera, make sure your makeup looks good on camera, and maybe even go talk to someone at your local Ulta or Sephora or whatever makeup store you have.
Yeah, because they'll
maybe do some research.
I think
camera ready makeup.
Yeah, I think talking to whoever at Sephora, or if you're in the UK, Debenhams or Boots department stores, because they do know all about makeup. And especially in today's society where people are having pictures taken all the time.
Yes.
They're gonna get asked the question a lot. So yeah, definitely that's good advice.
Absolutely. Clarify that you'll be on film.
Yes.
Let them know you'll be on film. I did that and they helped me pick out my foundation.
Right.
Which again, sometimes I wear tinted moisturizer. Yeah. It makes me look worse. But when I do actually wear my foundation that she helped me pick out that is literally good for filming, it looks great.
Yeah.
So get that help with that if you need it, or do some research. But that is something to keep in mind if you wear makeup.
Yes.
And then the final thing for the camera is if you don't know what a LUT is, literally throw this information out the window. You do not need it right now. But if you are someone who is familiar with like filming or the camera industry, keep in mind you can throw LUTs up on OBS now.
Yes.
You can just put your LUTs on it. Yeah. Now, if you don't know what a LUT means, don't worry about it.
Bother, yeah.
But again, if you're familiar with it, it's just nice to know that feature's there, because you might not have known.
Yeah.
So then we go into the mic. This one's a little more complicated. I highly recommend looking up an awesome tutorial on how to set up your mic in OBS. It's complicated. It's very individualized. Everybody's mic's going to have different settings.
I've heard.
But I want to.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I've heard for condenser microphones, there's a young man from the heart of England who has a video on that actually on his Joe Tendo channel, but maybe I'll put it on the NJP.
Yeah, definitely.
To work with OBS. And that works with slobs as well, actually.
That would be awesome.
In fact, I'll just upload it again to NGP.
Well, there you guys go. Look at that.
Because it's easy enough to do. And that's specifically for basically what most people use to stream, condenser microphones.
Yeah.
Really nothing major. Nothing too in depth. Like, I don't go into plugins and that sort of thing. It's just a basic setup that will make it sound better than when you just plug it in.
Yeah, because a lot of people, if you're new to streaming, you might not realize this, but our mics do not sound the way that they do right now. Like, we have done things to make sure they sound this way. For example, noise suppression. Noise suppression gets rid of some of the background noise, a noise gate. So anything below a certain level of noise, it won't pick up, like maybe the humming of our computers.
Yeah.
You can add equalizers, and that kind of messes with the actual volume of different frequencies in your voice. And if you're new, I don't feel like you need an equalizer. It's nice to have, but you don't need one. No. But if you want to follow along a tutorial and do it, that's cool. It's nice.
Yeah.
But the big ones are going to be noise suppression, noise gate. You have to have those. Otherwise, we're going to hear a lot of background crap that we don't want to hear. And then you might need to adjust your gain. And gain is basically like a volume boost or lower. Yeah. So you might need to bring your gain higher because your mic is too quiet, or you might need to bring it lower. And then actually there's one I didn't put on here, compression. Yeah. And I would actually recommend compression. If you scream a lot into the mic, I would recommend getting a compression filter as well, because it condenses your voice so that it's kind of complicated, but your sound waves aren't cut off, so you don't sound all weird.
Yeah.
I really think the best thing you could do is probably look up a tutorial. But I think adding noise gate and suppression, compression and gain are the important ones.
The compressor means that when you start shouting, it's not going to up the volume that much to the viewer or the listener. So
break ears.
Yeah, so you can set it at whatever ratio you want. So if you're streaming, you probably want it to still be a bit louder when you do shout, because it's like so that you're still immersive. But you don't want to blow their ears out all of a sudden. From they'll have it turned up and they'll listen on, and then suddenly it's way too loud. So the compressor's a good idea. It's in the tutorial, and in fact, which is probably one of my most popular videos, actually. In fact, I've had people come in on Twitch to say, "Oh, I just came to thank you for the video," but it's only really basic. But I'll get that. Yeah. I can upload that to the NJP. It's really quick and easy to follow. Or I could do a fresh one.
I 10 out of 10 recommend that. So go and watch that tutorial. Seriously, trying to set this stuff up yourself is going to be complicated. So I really recommend pull that tutorial up, figure that out. And if you do record a new one, you can throw color correction in for the camera too.
Yes,
so
I can do that.
Throw it out there.
That's a good idea. I'll do that.
But let's see. I think the only thing, there's only two more big things we have to mention. One is, we'll get to that one next. That'll be our final one. That'll be our final finishing touch. So let's talk about mods. So you want to go into Twitch, and there are some mod settings that you can set. You can set it for more moderation or less moderation. Now, this is the very most basic thing, because you're going to want some sort of moderation, but you don't need to go that hard in the paint with it right now. You aren't going to have a lot of viewers at first. That's kind of how it is.
Yes.
So set your mod settings up on Twitch. You want to familiarize yourself with some basic modding so that you have the ability to ban. You have the ability to time people out. You at least want to know your own basic mod commands, because you're going to be your own mod for a while. So you have to know those commands. You have to be able to execute as a mod, because you're going to have mod bots, but bots are only so reliable. Sometimes they'll block words that are not bad, or sometimes they'll, they'll ban someone who shouldn't have been banned. I don't know. They're not trustworthy. Don't trust the AI.
No, well,
I'm kidding. Your bot is actually trustworthy, but only to a degree.
My first bot used to not time people out, because I could set that. It used to delete the message if somebody put assassinate, because it had ass in it. Yeah. Because mine was really strict at first, because I wasn't sure exactly how kid friendly it was going to be in the beginning. So I thought, well, I can start off this way and then let it off, and that's what I ended up doing.
Exactly.
But this the Streamlabs Cloud bot didn't have you had a blacklist for words, right? So you could put any words that you just didn't want, not necessarily offensive ones. But there was no whitelist to say you can write this, it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one, because actually the thing is, when you're starting out, you can probably keep on top of it anyway, because you're not going to straight away have a big chat to look after, and probably the chances are, if somebody does say something inappropriate, there's not many or very few people that are there to be offended. So it's a bit of a tough one. It's a balance for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So familiarize yourself with the basic mod commands, because you're going to have to oversight your bot a little bit. It's like your bot's the worker. Sure, he's going to do the most of the work, the brunt of the work, but you're its manager. You have to make sure it's doing the things correctly. So familiarize yourself. And if you go to, I think it's twitch.tv /moderator /your username, then you will have the Twitch new mod interface panel, and that actually makes things so much easier than it was before. So I recommend, if you're modding yourself, maybe pull up that moderator panel for your own channel and using that. Turn off link sharing. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Do it.
You don't want people sharing links in your chat.
You don't.
Never.
You don't. And you can figure out later how to permit certain people and stuff, but in the beginning, without getting too complicated into that, and without setting settings and stuff, just turn off link sharing. You can figure out later how to give people permits to share links, or how to make it sub only or whatever, because mine is sub only.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But for now, turn it off.
Yes.
And then the final one is set up bot modding. So Twitch has its own moderation settings you can set. I would recommend using an additional bot because you have a little bit more flexibility and customization there.
You do.
So using Streamlabs bot or Stream Elements bot, using either of them, you can use those even if you aren't using their programs, their software.
The Twitch one has got a lot better recently, but certainly if your content is going to be family friendly, definitely have an extra bot on top. It won't hurt.
Yeah.
It won't hurt. If you,
and that's how you do commands as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But the Twitch one has got better. Like I'm confident with the Twitch one now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I definitely wasn't, and it didn't catch everything I needed it to, even though it was like PG-13. Not. Yes, of course, it caught all the obvious swear words, but like the cloud bot was really good, even though it kept out some of the stuff I wanted in there. There was no troll that ever got anything through. They were always like, what's going on? And yeah, but especially if you're going to be family friendly, just get another one.
Yeah. So it's like you have like a triad of moderators, I guess. You have yourself that you have to know how to mod. You have the Twitch settings, which will help. And then you have your bot.
Yes.
So the triangle of mods. And between the three of those, you
should catch everything.
Fail safes. You should be fine. And plus link sharing, turn that on.
Yeah. And then in the future, we'll talk about
customizing commands.
Yeah, customizing commands, and also getting moderators as well, your own moderators. But that's not at the beginning, so.
Absolutely. And then the final thing, the thing that I'm most excited about actually, because after us going through people's streams today, I feel like it's even more important. And I already felt like it was super important. And that is make your channel thumbnail look good. And I've said it before, and I feel like today really drove that point home. Yes. Make your channel thumbnail look good.
Yes.
If it's like, I don't want to, okay. You know how on YouTube sometimes there's clickbaity looking titles and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know some people get sick of it, but it works.
It does work.
It works.
I don't care what anyone says.
It works on me. It works on all of us.
It tickles that curiosity. You got to know.
It does.
You got to know.
It does. And
you got to know what that one weird trick was for shredding body fat in 7 days.
Yeah. I mean, we've all clicked on something like that. I'm not ashamed. But like, you want people to feel that way about your thumbnail because they're scrolling through a sea. I mean, you guys saw when we were looking at StreamKick earlier, if you were watching the YouTube video, it looked the same. Nobody had a camera. Nobody really had interesting overlays. It literally looked like I could have clicked on any of those and assumed it was someone else.
Yeah.
They were just twinning so hard. They were identical. Yeah. And that's boring and it doesn't entice you to want to click on it. I don't feel like I have to know what's going on in here. I have to know what this is. You want to stand out. You want to look different. And people are like, this is different from the thousands of other things I've seen. I want to click that. I want to know what this is. So make your thumbnail look interesting. Think of it like clickbait. You are trying to entice people to come into your channel and your thumbnail is your greatest tool for that.
Yeah.
So really, really kick ass on the thumbnail, whether that's making your overlay more interesting or, I mean, just like making your camera look really awesome, putting lights in the background, whatever. It has to look good.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we've got everything covered for today. Thank you very much again to Nick for putting that work in. I'm going to do what I did last week and put the bubble chart in the folder, which the link will be in the description for. Thank you all again very much for watching and listening. We will be back again next week with more content.
Absolutely.
Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Bye, guys.
See you later. Goodbye.